The Kirk Cousins contract is one that, we've talked about quite a bit during this offseason. How much is he wanting to get paid? How much do we think he should get paid? Is he even going to remain on the team? Well, after seeing what I am about to show you, I'm going to say it's in the best, It's in the best interest that the Vikings move on from Kirk Cousins. This is just absolutely absurd. When I seen this today, I was like, you got to be kidding me. There's no way we can afford that if we want to be good down the stretch. So I'm going to show you this little tweet here about the current situation or contract situation for Kirk Cousins and what is expected or what he is expecting to get paid. Before we do that, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It'd be much appreciated. So Dov Kleeman, I believe is how you say his name, on X or on Twitter, had a report come out that was very unsettling, to say the least. He basically tweeted, report, Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins is looking for $90 million guaranteed, $45 million a year for 2 years to re-sign with the team per @CharlieWalters. He also says, is that a fair price for Cousins? Well, I asked you guys that. Is it a fair price for Cousins? If we look currently at the quarterbacks right now that are making $45 million a year, this is the list. Starts off with Patrick Mahomes making $45 million a year. Deshaun Watson, $46 million a year. You could argue he doesn't deserve that. I don't think so. Kyler Murray, $46.1 mil. Russell Wilson, $49 mil. Jalen Hurts, $51. Lamar Jackson, $52. Justin Herbert, $52.5. Then Joe Burrow, $55 million. Those are the current quarterbacks that are making $45 million a year. Does Kirk Cousins belong in that category? Well, if you look at some of those names like, Russell Wilson, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, especially Deshaun Watson, you'd say absolutely Kirk Cousins deserves $45 million guaranteed, or at least $90 million guaranteed, $45 million a year. However, if you're the Minnesota Vikings and you hear that report come out, he wants $45 million a year, you don't re-sign Kirk Cousins. I just don't see a world where you make that happen, because if you do sign Kirk Cousins to that deal, you will not get the Danielle Hunter deal done. You're going to have to clear some cap, which means getting rid of probably quite a bit of players, okay, because we only have, I think, $29 million in cap space at this moment, and we still have to go into the draft. We still have to look at free agency and bring in new faces. There's just no way. In a perfect world, sure, re-sign Kirk Cousins. But it's time to move on. If he truly wants $45 million a year after tearing his Achilles, yeah, he was having the best career statistically at the point before he tore his Achilles. Doesn't matter. With the age he's at, he's going to have one more contract. It's going to be one more contract, 2 to 3 years, that Kirk Cousins is going to get. A big one, a massive one. It's not going to be with the Vikings. If we sign Kirk Cousins to $45 million a year, I'm going to be very, very upset, because that means we're not going to go draft a quarterback this year, which is troublesome. Very, very worrisome. We watched Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, who gets paid $800,000, $900,000 a year, whatever it is, make it to the Super Bowl in his second year. Kind of crazy if you ask me. That is unbelievable. Kirk Cousins might be worth that $45 million, but it doesn't make sense for the Vikings to do so. If you look at what other teams have done, the Houston Texans with C.J. Stroud, they have a lot of money now in cap space. Granted, they did get rid of a lot of their big pieces before that. C.J. Stroud pick was in place. J.J. Watt, DeAndre Hopkins, Deshaun Watson, getting them out of the building. We look at San Fran with their quarterback situation. Brock Purdy, $800,000 to $900,000 a year. They were able to bolster both their offense and defense and build a powerhouse. If the Vikings sign Kirk Cousins, expect to be mediocre yet again. We need to go out there and say, you know what? It's time to look forward to the future. Let's find a quarterback. If we hit on that quarterback, you build the rest of the team. You have enough money now to sign these free agents, to bring in these veterans to help this team out. These superstar athletes. For Kirk Cousins to apparently, now it's alleged that the report is 2 years, $90 million, fully guaranteed, $45 million a year. For the Vikings, it makes no sense. Now, when we talked about that 2 year, $60 million year, or $60 million, $34.5 million guaranteed, I'm all for that. That's a lot better than 45 a year, 90 fully guaranteed, if you ask me. It's a little bit more money when you give him $90 million, okay? Makes no sense for the Vikings to do that. If we can come to no, plain and simple, if that is what he wants, Kirk Cousins is not a Viking. And I don't want him to be a Viking if that's the case. Because that means he's just chasing money. And he wants to be towards the top of the highest paid quarterbacks in the National Football League when he might deserve it, but not with this team. Not with this team. Not right now. Not when we're looking forward to the future. When we almost watched the Detroit Lions go to the Super Bowl. Wouldn't it have been crazy if in my lifetime I would have seen the Chicago Bears, the Green Bay Packers, and the Detroit Lions play in a Super Bowl before the Vikings even sniffed it? That would have upset me. It's time to look forward. It's time to get better. Re-signing Kirk Cousins to that deal is just completely obnoxious. It's absurd. And it won't happen. Kirk Cousins, sorry, man. You're great. You're great. You're a good quarterback. Great man. $90 million fully guaranteed just isn't what the Vikings are looking for. That's my opinion. You guys can make your own opinion. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I think it's time to move on if that's exactly what he wants from Kirk Cousins. You guys let me know your thoughts. Also drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It'd be much appreciated. Have a great rest of your night, folks, and Skol Vikes.